get their work done in terms of rescue and getting people out of there.
Now, as you just mentioned, all 3 airports are closed, and I would imagine especially after seeing that second airplane crash into the second tower, I would imagine that the military right now is up in the skies, and I'm sure that they are certainly scanning the area for any more aircraft that could possibly be trying to come into the area.
You will remember that the World Trade Towers were the subject of an attack. How many years ago was it now? 10, 11? I can't even remember for sure. But again, there has been a lot of security there. There has been obviously they've been very consistent in keeping those buildings rather secure. So once again,
we'll always secure at the bottom.
That's right.
You know, you can't get it from ground level, but obviously very vulnerable up in the sky.
Exactly. So let us, again, reiterate what we know and what we think we know, because this is something that happened about 25 minutes ago.
Yes.
There were 2 explosions. The first one happened, maybe it was a half an hour ago, and there were eyewitnesses that told us on the first of the towers, the one that is closest to me, or closest to your screen, I should say, eyewitnesses told us they witnessed an airplane that apparently was making a beeline for that building. And there was an explosion, and you can see the damage. Then,
just a couple of minutes ago, we saw a second explosion. When we went back and looked at the videotape, it was very clear that a plane was coming. It was very clear that a plane was coming from the right over the Hudson River, and went between the 2 buildings and then slammed into the second building. That was the second explosion. First time we saw it, we didn't really catch the plane, but after a call from Janice Huff, she pointed it out to us, and sure enough, a second aircraft looked like it made a deliberate beeline for the second tower, and we saw that explosion just a little bit lower than the original explosion in the first tower.
Obviously, this is already having quite an effect on the city of New York. Here take a look at this video. Let's just look at this one more time. There you see the plane.
Between the 2 buildings.
And then you see the explosion.
Right there. Unbelievable.
Let us tell you that all of the airports in the New York City metropolitan area are closed down right now. Subway lines 1, 2, 3, and 9 have all been, the service has been, it's been cut off for the moment. And we will continue to bring you up to date on what is going on, and we actually, you know, are hoping we'll be able to talk to somebody from the mayor's office in just a few minutes to see what they might know.
Okay, right now, let's, as you can see, the chopper force had to back off. Let's go back to April and Monica up top. April?
Okay, what we can tell you right now from up here in Chopper 4, we cannot get any closer than about 5 miles to the scene because we need to keep this far back. But you can see the black smoke as far as we are away. We can zoom in here for you. First, you saw the smoke from the 1 tower. Then we witnessed an explosion on the other tower. Now, we think that there was a plane that actually headed into that second tower at some point, and that's what caused that second explosion. We are unable to get close enough to actually show you or tell you what's going on at the ground, but an unbelievable sight here from above the Hudson River at this vantage point. Back to you.
I'm just looking at the wire service at this point, and it tells us that the FBI is investigating reports of a plane hijacking before the World Trade Center crashes. Now, that's all they're telling us. We know nothing more than that. Again, what's been happening here this morning, we have no absolute confirmation of anything other than what we can see with our own eyes. And now the FBI is telling us that there has been some sort of a plane hijacking that they're investigating.
Yeah, we have another witness on the telephone right now who actually saw the second explosion. Elena?
Cretella. Elena, can you hear us?
Yes, I hear you clearly.
Where are you? Tell us what you saw.
Well, actually, I was washing my dishes at my window, and I heard a very low plane, which usually does happen, but when I looked up, it was like I was actually gliding with it, and I saw it actually went straight into one of the Twin Towers. It was like it sunk right into the floor. It disintegrated instantly.
Can you tell us what kind of an airplane it was?
It looked like a huge 747. It was a big airline. It wasn't a small jet. It was a big carrier.
And you couldn't see anybody? Could you see a pilot or any such thing?
No, I actually was. It was like side by side. It was like I was right behind it. It was huge. I couldn't believe how low it was. I was telling my roommate, this plane is very low. And I actually saw it go straight into the Twin Towers. Like, why is it going into the building? It was like it was almost deliberately glided into the building.
Elena, where exactly do you live? Where did you see this from? Battery Park City?
No, I'm in the East Village on 13th Street.
And you then saw the plane go into the building, and I assume you saw the resulting...
You better believe it. I saw an explosion like I have never seen, and all I can say is those people, I don't know, but they're all definitely disintegrated. It was the most awful thing I've ever seen. It was so sad. I was like a nervous wreck.
Well, I don't blame you. I appreciate you.
It really was awful, and all I can say is we should pray for those people, because it looked to me that it was deliberate. Unless the pilot had a heart attack, it was like this big 747 just went right into the floor of the Twin Towers.
Well, Elena,
yes.
we thank you very much for calling us and giving us this information.
Absolutely.
And, you know, obviously stick with us, because we are going to find out what happened. We just simply do not know for sure yet, other than the fact that airplanes ran into both of the Twin Towers about half an hour ago. 18 minutes apart was one attack from the other. I shouldn't call it attack. One ramming into the tower to the other. So.
But you say we are getting reports that the FBI is investigating possibly these two planes have been hijacked, and I would have to think if she's correct, and it was a commercial airliner that went into the second building, then I think we've definitely got a very serious situation. Well, obviously we have a serious situation anyway, but without going too much into speculation, I think we are definitely possibly looking at a terrorist attack here.
What we do not know, the FBI has not said where they are investigating the reports of the planes being hijacked from.
Right.
Obviously, it had to be a fairly recent hijacking, if that's indeed what happened, because there were no previous reports that would have led to any kind of speculation about what was going to happen next. If we might, could we take a look at that video one more time that shows the second explosion? The first explosion happened at about 10 minutes to 9 this morning. The second one was about 18 minutes later. And here we were on the air, and this is what we saw. Look over to, you're going to look over to the right of the screen, and in just a couple of minutes, as we widen out here, you will see what it appears to be a relatively small aircraft moving into the shot. Do you see it in the upper right? Coming in. And there you see it.
Absolutely incredible.
Again, we have no knowledge of who was in that airplane, who was piloting it.
We don't, if it was hijacked, we don't know if it was full of passengers or not.
We do not know. We simply know at this point that we have the tops of two towers that are clearly in flames. We are going to continue to seek out the information for you. Let's reiterate what our eyewitnesses have told us.
Well, we had the first plane crashing into the tower, which, if you're looking at your TV screen, would be on your right. We had a few phone calls. People said it looked like the plane deliberately went into the building. Some people were not too sure. And about 18 minutes later, right here on live television, the second plane came into the picture and crashed into the second tower a little farther down. And the witnesses we just talked to on the telephone just a few minutes ago, she said that she saw it fly by the window of her apartment building. She lives on the Lower East Side, and she said that it looked like a commercial airliner to her.
Yes, she said it looked like a relatively huge airplane.
Yes.
And again, the FBI is investigating reports of at least one plane hijacking and possibly two. Let's go to the telephone once again. We have Kay Cummings on the phone. Kay, what can you tell us?
I was watching the Channel 4 and the World Trade Center, which I can see really clearly from my window, and there was a big plane that was heading right straight for the second tower. It looked like a commercial plane, not a small plane, and I kept thinking, this is too low, it's too low, it's too low, and then it went right in. And you could see it was headed right for it.
Now, was this the first plane or the second?
Second plane.
The second plane.
I didn't see the first one.
And where exactly are you?
I'm on 12th Street in Hudson, and I have an unobstructed view of the World Trade Center from my bedroom.
Okay, and that airplane appeared to you to be a pretty good size as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, it looked like a commercial airplane. It came from the Jersey side, southwest side, coming toward the World Trade Center, very low.
we have now reports on the wires that the FBI is investigating this as foul play, a crime here, obviously. Looks like this is definitely deliberate.
Kay, what can you tell us about what you can see from the neighborhood right now? Do you see? I mean, can you see the street at all? Can you see anything?
No, I'm much
Much too
I'm in
high?
the village.
Okay.
All I can tell you is